a question for me, Pragpro. Why did they... Hold up. Sorry. Cillian Murphy in this movie and not give him any credit. I have in one scene. Genuinely, I have no idea. That's amazing.
He was decision. He's supposed to be in the sequel, but not anymore.
Why didn't they credit him?
He was famous at the time. I don't know why they didn't credit him. This wasn't pre 28 Days Later.
That's a fun fact. Fun fact. He actually pitches for the Dodgers now. Pretty crazy.
Welcome to the TRON Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Giamatti.
This isn't the Tron Legacy podcast. We don't do Tron Legacy every week.
We only do Tron Legacy. That's it.
You wish, Time. You wish.
We review 5 minutes of it. It's 5 minute increments. That's it.
So today is only the first 5 minutes.
Right, yeah.
And that's the end of the podcast. And then we'll review the next.
Well, today
5 minutes.
we're only going to go over the intro with the lights on the castle. That's it. That's all we're doing.
It starts with neon lights.
We watch 5 minutes a week.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. How are we doing, everyone? I'm
good.
JC.
I'm Timegoestowaste. That's me.
This podcast is dedicated to Corey Lasagna and his love of audio.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Corey.
Rip Corey. You fell off. So
this is for Corey, costing us Prag and I $500 collectively.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean collectively?
I mean, 2 mics,
Yeah, 2 mics.
250.
You had to pay for yours as well.
We have the
Jesus.
same mic, yeah.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah.
Except he got his special arm in the mail. He got his special thing, so he doesn't have to bend over like this. And I really wish Amazon would tell me why the package hasn't arrived. They just told me it's supposed to arrive today, but it hasn't left Santa Monica in 2 days.
You're like, you know what? I'll get it myself.
I'm going
You drive there.
I'm going to Amazon. Jeff Bezos, where are you?
You knock on the
stop
door.
the UPS man. Excuse me, sir. Can you look at your manifest and see if there are any orders for a microphone?
You know what?
Dan?
Just let me go back there. And I'll look for myself.
The new microphone is a vibe, Chad.
This is an ASMR stream now.
We are semi-professional now. You know that?
ASMR.
This is a hot
Podcast,
podcast. This is a
Every
hot
week,
podcast.
every week, we take the feedback. The quality goes up, but the content goes down. You know?
Content's
Exactly. Exactly.
I think we should introduce the film before our listeners turn off
Do you,
podcast
Pragpro?
players.
That's what you think we should do.
He's gonna cut all this
Should we
out.
even talk about the film?
No.
Yeah,
No.
man, I can't wait to.
Let's talk about all the postponements, all the technical difficulties we endured. Let's talk about all that.
No. We'll
I want to talk about.
We'll
that.
avoid that. It was too
What
much
the
of a
fuck is
headache.
going on with Australian internet?
God, it was
Yeah.
such a headache for me. You can't even. You don't
We
even
recorded
understand.
40 minutes of this podcast last week, Chad.
We did. We really did.
It was only 20, Prag. Stop overselling it.
Felt like 40.
Felt like an hour and a half.
All right, Time. What movie did you pick for us this week?
Last week, we watched Tron Legacy.
And why did you pick this classic?
Because I love this movie. I know this movie gets a lot of, I don't want to say hate, a lot of guff, because it is a lot of, it is visually and auditorily amazing, but plot-wise, maybe not so much. But I think it's a really fun movie. I love every time, all 112 times that I've watched it. I think it's just a fun. No, estimate. But I just think
That's a lot of viewings.
it's a really fun movie for me. But,
No,
but
I understand that.
we'll get to everyone else's opinions later.
When did you watch it? Like opening day when it came out?
Yes, I watched the opening
Yeah.
day.
Because I have a lot of fond memories of seeing it in 3D when it first came out.
See, I never saw it in 3D.
Really?
No, but I had the 3D Blu-ray, so
I dressed up like Tron and waited in the movie parking lot for 4 weeks. When I heard that Tron Legacy was coming out to the theater near me, I got some neon, and I got some chalk, and I got a pillbox hat, and I cut my hair like Mo Howard, and I stood in the parking lot until they let me in, and
Corey,
I watched every
this is
viewing.
what you wanted. Now you got a new mic. Now he's doing ASMR now.
It's just
what you wanted.
intimate.
Listeners, like, who the fuck is Corey?
Yeah, who is Corey? Don't worry about it.
Who the fuck is Corey? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
CoreyLazat.com.
Demon in the walls.
www.CoreyLazat.com.
He is our muse. He's the reason we are friends, and the reason we are what we are.
That's a big step.
That's a big call.
I thought I was the reason.
I don't know if I put him on that pedestal.
Put him on that pedestal.
We would still be waiting for Corey to start the Discord.
True. So, what did you guys think of the movie?
I like this movie.
I didn't like this movie.
Okay.
Is that a hot take? Is everyone going to be mad at me for saying that?
I don't think so.
Go in.
Explain your stance.
Well, I didn't like it. Like we'll get more into it, but the main reason I didn't like it is it felt like it was just such a hollow world. Like I mean, I love the visuals, and I think the visuals carry the film for me for about 30 minutes, and then after that, I'm looking for a bit more. I'm looking for some details about the world. I'm looking for a little bit more meat,
some surprises,
on the bones. And I just felt like this was really bare bones. Like they keep preaching about how the villain Clue created the perfect system, but we don't actually see what that system is at all, like or the machinations of it or anything. And I just felt like it was really just a surface level film that doesn't really say a lot. Unfortunately,
I think he was striving to create the perfect system. I think that's why it became like such a crazy dictatorship.
But what does that mean? But we don't see it. Like we don't see how this manifests. Like we don't see how it's manifested.
Yeah, it's an allegory for things.
And I felt like this film does a lot of lip service, like talking about events and ideas that are more interesting than what the film actually is.
Like what?
They talk about the arrival of the ISOs, which is a new life form, but it's all told in flashback. It's like basically washed over in a few minutes, but like that's the interesting stuff to me. They talk about the genocide that Clue takes against the ISOs, and we don't see the ramifications of that either. Like the only thing we really see is Cora, and she doesn't seem to be too affected by it at all. So
she has a head injury.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So that's
the way she plays that character was funny to me.
I thought she was really good. I think she's probably the best character in the film for me.
No.
I also think
she's the cutest character.
Jeff Bridges
is incredible in the
amazing
film. Like the amount, like it's such a thin character, but he does so much with it. I feel like.
Well, hold on. Okay, so before you expand on that, do you think Jeff Bridges is starting to get into that? What I brought up the other day, the Brad Pitt, where he's only playing one character now. Jeff Bridges, he's only the dude now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. There's been 100 films
it's
like
good,
that.
But
yeah, have you seen the film Seventh Son?
I have not.
It is an awful fantasy film with Jeff Bridges. You did see it, Pragpro?
It was terrible.
I saw that. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Like a Russian production?
I haven't seen it.
It's terrible. But it's like Jeff Bridges and Julianne Moore. I swear to God, they were drunk on set in that film.
I love Julianne Moore.
She's great, but she's terrible in this film. It was almost like they knew the film was terrible, and they had a competition as to who could do a worse job in that film. It was really bad. But I don't think Jeff Bridges was there yet. Like I felt like Tron Legacy did, actually care about it, despite the lack of material he was given.
So what worked for you for this movie? Before we get to Pride, what worked for you?
For me, I love the opening action sequences. I think they're fantastic. I think the soundtrack is incredible. And I also think the ending is really good. Like, I feel like they stuck the landing with the ending. I thought the ending was quite emotional, even though it's like texturally emotional. I didn't feel like it was built up that well, but I felt like the way it was presented, the execution at the end, was really solid. But everything else, I felt in between, I just wasn't feeling it.
Set pieces were spectacular. The CGI, anytime there was a conflict, I think the movie was exceptional. I liked the nightclub scene and the fight that they had in there. I thought that was a lot of fun. It's like a Matrix, but a PG version of a Matrix. You know, there's a lot of Star Wars vibes with Jeff Bridges' character. Obviously, he's dressed up as a straight up Jedi.
Yeah.
But the problem is I got confused with a lot of the plot points because I just feel like they shoehorned a plot just to have a plot. You know, I didn't really... I mean, I understand what an ISO is and the users and everything else, but they didn't really explain why one is preferable to the others.
Agreed. Yeah.
You know, I
didn't
obviously,
really.
yeah, the allegory they were using obviously is for totalitarianism. When they had that they have that scene like they have in Star Wars, every scene in Star Wars when the Empire has all the troops lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously that's a Nuremberg callback. You were saying, JC?
And Clue has his big speech, right?
Yeah.
Which I forgot already.
which mirrored,
pretty forgettable.
It mirrored Kevin Flynn's speech from the beginning when they're into the flashbacks.
That is correct. Yes, it did.
Time, you've seen the film 125 times. Can you recite Clue's speech for us from memory?
I can't. I actually can't.
I
wish
feel
I
like
could.
that says a lot. I feel like this says a lot.
Trust in me, and I will never betray you.
Well, I think the big issue also is that you kind of don't connect because he doesn't look human. He's a CG. Like,
so
if
bad.
you haven't seen the film,
So
you haven't seen the
bad.
film,
It's so
listeners.
off-putting.
He's this
Jeff
is before
Bridges,
the de-aging technology was really kicking off. So this is maybe the first use of it.
we talked about this last time. This might have been the first they started to use the de-aging filter, I guess, on an actor.
This is almost
And it looks
15 years ago.
Yeah,
Almost
and
15 years
for
now.
For a film that's so visually dazzling, like Tron Legacy, it's a real like sore thumb. You know, it sticks out. I feel
And
like
it's interesting that Disney never republished in 4K or never, you know, which is odd to me.
Which I thought, I think is really weird as
They're
well.
going to sell a collector's set when the sequel comes out.
and I'm gonna fucking buy it.
So I do want to talk.
6K.
I do want to talk about the director though, Joseph Kosinski, who's gone on and he's had quite a illustrious career after Tron Legacy. Is this his debut? I think Oblivion was ruined by marketing, and is actually quite an underrated film.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I just really wish they didn't ruin it.
This is his filmography. Tron Legacy was his first directed film, then Oblivion 2013, Only the Brave in 2017, which I don't recall, and of course Top Gun Maverick,
which is fantastic,
and Spiderhead.
And yeah,
so W director. I think the director pulled the best out of this film possible because I was starting to get bored at the beginning of the film, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to really want to watch this whole thing. I'm going to watch it, but I don't know if I'm going to like to watch it. But then the action pieces and everything kind of stepped up, and I kind of forgave the film for being, you know, a movie for preteens and teens as far as the plot points go, because it's a Disney film, which is, you know, they're marketing to that segment. Now, they should have got a better script writer and done some things with that. But I think the actors carried it. I think the directing was great. Special effects were fantastic. The music was amazing. We have to talk about the music, of course.
Yeah.
And it was nominated for an Oscar.
Best visual effects.
Yeah. So, W.
I don't know if it won. But
I'm not sure.
I thought it was fantastic. The visual effects, like just in general, the art direction is one of the best of all time for sure. I mean, I haven't seen the original Tron, but it seems like they.
What?
I'm sorry, I haven't seen the original Tron, but it seems like they did a really, really good job of, you know, taking the sort of
they
neon
fixed
look
a lot of
that they
things.
went through, went for and updated it in a really striking way. But yeah,
I like the way they made it. They made some of the characters that, when it was appropriate, they brought up the sensuality without making it perverse and sexualized. You
in
know,
what way, Prag? What do you mean?
I just feel like let me look at the actors real
Are you
quick.
talking about Michael
Bo
Sheen?
Garrett's? No, Bo Garrett's character. Michael Sheen, yeah, the David Bowie. No, I think Olivia Wilde
hypersexual god.
No,
Michael
I think
Sheen.
Olivia Wilde and Bo Garrett did everything they could to.
Who's Bo Garrett?
She is the blonde who played one of the ISOs that was bringing in the guy, the user.
You mean the program?
Right. She was David Bowie's girlfriend.
Oh, right hand girl. Yeah.
She got blown up.
I do remember that.
Yeah, but
She did indeed.
It's hard to be evocative when you're playing a computer program, and I think they did a nice job. They did the best they could.
Yeah, I agree.
Michael Sheen was good.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about this film is like I just feel like this film is quite. There's not a lot to really talk about it. I feel like. I mean, we're going to get into like the spoiler section, obviously, but
we can talk about the soundtrack
as well. But I feel like it's a problem when the film is kind of so hollow that I'm struggling to think of things to talk about it. Like, I want to get into the soundtrack, which I think is incredible. Daft Punk, rest in peace.
Yep, it's a classic homage to analog synth music from people like Wendy Carlos and Klaus Schultz, who were Tangerine Dream, who were made fabulous film soundtracks in the 70s mostly. But I think they really updated it, and it sounded great, you know.
And Vangelis as well, obviously.
Vangelis,
huge influence.
Absolutely.
Is it Vangelis or Vangelis?
I say Vangelis, but you know, I don't know. I'd have to ask a Greek speaker. But yeah, I mean, all of those bands, if you like that kind of synth music, the analog synth, all the what they call krautrock from the 70s features a lot of sequencers. I mean, I think of Kraftwerk, of course.
I love Kraftwerk.
Yeah, just, you know, it's just really cool. You know, it's like it's a way to discuss industrialization with music, right? Because that's what they're trying to replicate with sequencers. You know, it's the automated nature of it, but it's been digitized, right? So it's a way to explain a future that's been industrialized.
Were you aware that Wendy Carlos did the original score for the first Tron?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
She was composer of the first Tron. Yeah,
is she still with us? Is she still alive? They should have. I'm surprised they didn't have her do a couple tracks or something on this one
for this one. But yeah, it was a Daft Punk show. Yeah. So I want to know, Time, what do you get out of Tron Legacy in general? Like, besides it just being like really a fun movie for you, do you feel like you get a lot out of it when you watch it, or is it more like a turn your brain off sort of deal?
I guess it's more of a turn my brain off thing. You know, like I said last time, there's movies where you can just put on and have in the background and just kind of, you know, vibe with or whatever. But this one is like, there's two where if I put them on or if they're on, I have to sit down and watch it. So it's really stimulating like that. So it's not really turning my brain off, but kind of is, if you understand that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Because my question is, after the light cycle chase, the film takes a dip for a long while until you get to...
It's a lull, yeah.
Yeah,
they go back to they go back to headquarters, right? That's what happens in the film after that. And they discuss
I guess we're going into spoiler territory now.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean,
this is spoiler talk from here on out.
The film is 15 years
Listeners.
old, Chad.
Yeah.
It's 15 years old.
Is it really 15?
Yeah,
almost.
It's pretty old, yeah.
I think...
Oh my God.
If you're going to watch Tron Legacy, you would have watched it.
You would watch it.
But I don't want to spoil anything. I won't spoil anything.
No, we're into spoiler territory now. So, listeners, if you haven't seen the film or you don't care,
log off.
But
log off.
Yeah.
Log off.
So, Tron, the character of Tron.
Right.
Yeah, it's a terrible character.
Oh
I
my
don't even
God,
know why
like-
the movie's called Tron.
Well, so is he the main character of the first film, or is Jeff Bridges the main character of the first film? I haven't seen it, so
Time.
Tron's the main character of the movie.
have you
Boxlighter.
I've
you
seen
seen
I've seen it a long
Boxlighter.
you've
time.
seen the original Tron though?
Yeah, a long time ago though. Bruce Boxleiter.
1984.
Bruce Boxleiter in this movie, in Legacy, fantastic. I
He's
love
in
his
one
performance.
scene.
No,
He's
not
in one
multiple
scene.
scenes.
Oh,
he's
you
in
mean
he's
with
in
the helmet on?
No, he's in the
Are you
boardroom scene. Boardroom scene. He goes to talk to Sam.
Right?
He goes to the arcade. There's like 3 or 4 scenes.
Oh wait, is that him? Is that
Yeah, at the
is
end,
that Tron
too.
from the original?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
He was great. He was fantastic.
So are there? No, he was good. I agree. Is there theories that him in the real world is the Tron from the first film? Is there conspiracy theories about that or
No.
no?
No.
Okay.
I wish Tron was Cillian Murphy.
Well, okay, so as I remember it, Tron in the world, in the computer world, is just a digital representation of Bruce Boxlight or whatever.
Right. But
Kevin
he
Flynn
never
is the only
entered the
one that
world.
can Kevin Flynn's the only one that can go back and forth. Yeah. Avatar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In this film, they don't go back and forth, though. It seems like they use this as
No,
like
Kevin
a
does.
dream
Kevin Flynn
sequence.
does.
But in the sequel, I know compared to the first Tron, where they actually physically are transported. In this film, there's no like physical. Usually there's like a sequence in a film like this where they're transported and they go through a corkscrew and it goes woo and they spin or
he
something
did.
like that.
Sam
Did
did
they
too.
do this in
Kevin
this
and Sam.
one?
Yeah. The little aperture opened up and
I
it
feel
shot him.
it was just
Yeah,
a
but it
little.
was instant, which I think is fine.
Yeah, it was very instant, and
Yeah.
it almost like he was imagining it. So it allowed, which I prefer,
Yeah.
other than having to believe that there's a quantum level world, and I like
So
that part of it. I like that.
I have 3 fun facts about this movie.
Sweet.
Yeah, the first one, besides the fact that Cillian Murphy, is it Killian or Cillian? I always say
Killian.
Killian.
It's
Cillian
Cillian
Murphy
Murphy.
is
Yeah.
is in the movie. Very small part. Very, very small
Yeah.
part.
He's got a beard, which you don't see very often.
He's actually the son of the villain from the first movie. That's who he is.
Shut the front door.
Wait, so was there meant to be a third one where that
Yeah.
came up and right? Okay.
And he's supposed to be the villain of the whatever.
Right. Okay. Well,
Interesting.
Yeah.
too bad that never panned out, I guess. Now we've got Jared Leto.
Yep.
Oh my god.
What a king. Looking forward to
Everyone's
that.
favorite
There's
backup.
I mean, obviously I said this movie visually is amazing, but there's a couple things I wanted to bring up. When they had the giant or the fight scene during the games,
with the discs.
the disc,
With
yeah,
that one?
yeah,
Yeah.
the disc, yeah. When Sam first, he escapes little pod and he gets to the final, big area, and he has to fight Rinsler. When Rinsler pulls his light disc out and he splits it into 2,
Yeah.
for me that was like my Darth Maul moment. When Darth Maul had like the two
I was going to say, it seemed like they were going for that, weren't they?
Yeah,
and
it
he's-
was-
and
that
he's
was
like,
really
is that
cool.
even legal? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a question about this. What you guys think? Because I guess the film kind of explains it, but not really. So whenever the 2 programs would fight, whenever they would get hit by the light disc, they would explode into little voxels, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What would happen if Sam got hit by it? Would it just
Well,
cut him?
that's one of my other issues is the rules of the movie don't really make sense to me. Like, if he gets cut in half, does he die in real life? Like,
Yeah.
they never explain it at all.
It's like Alice in Wonderland, though. Alice in
know,
Wonderland
I know.
can't.
Because
Alice
he gets
is
cut
endangered
on the shoulder,
in Alice in Wonderland because
Yeah.
Alice is
And he
dreaming.
bleeds.
and he
doesn't
bleeds, and that's how Rinsler
dreaming
knows
the world.
he's a user.
That he's So
Yeah.
my question
Interesting.
with that is my issue with that is for there to be tension for me, I need to know what the rules are, and
Right.
if the film doesn't tell me what the rules are, then I don't know if he's gonna die if he gets hit. Like I don't know. I'm
does he
just-
die and go back to the real world? Does he just
Yeah.
die there? Yeah. No, you're
Like,
right.
what
you're right.
is even then? What is the rules? Like, has he disappeared from the real world, or is he plugged in and he's still sitting there?
he disappeared
dreaming.
because his dad's gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
'Cause
So
his dad
he
was last in the
literally
office
gets
and he wasn't there. Yeah.
So his whole matter literally gets
Physically,
transported.
everything goes over there. Yeah.
So I guess it does make
So
sense that he probably
you would assume
died,
that if he died, he would just die there. I would assume
he would just die there. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that begs the question: like, is it a physical world? Is it a digital world? What's the difference?
The synopsis says that he's digitized and downloads him. Yeah. So it's a digital. Is it a digital copy of the human being, or is it actually? I mean, the real person is somewhere else, or is it? So that begs the question.
But I feel like it doesn't delve into that much at all. The film.
I think he's mostly dreaming it, though. I think the director wants us to believe that it's only happening in his imagination, and it's not happening in a real place, and that allows because they don't want to scare the kids that are watching the film at the same time.
No, I think it's a real place.
Can't be too. All right.
That's what I took.
Another big issue that I have with the film is the film ends and you're meant to like feel really bad for Kevin Flynn. Well, not feel bad, but like he sacrifices himself for his son, right?
Right.
But his plan the whole time was to do that anyway. Like the entire film, he's like, "No, I'm not going to escape. No, I have to stay here. No." And I just didn't really feel much.
Well, right? No, he's only staying there because Clue feeds off of his fighting back. If he could have just left, he would have left.
Okay, then how does Quora get out of the digital world and enter the real world?
When he was talking about when he's explaining the whole thing, whatever, like him trying to get back to the portal, he was like, every time I step on the grid, Clue gets stronger. So every time I push back, Clue gets stronger. So it's harder for me to get to the portal, and it's only open for a second. So the only option to do good is to not do anything.
That doesn't make any firstly, just like on a physical standpoint, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right? How does Quora escape the digital world and become in the real world? Olivia Wilde's character.
He has a disc. His disc, I guess, is the key to everything.
Not just that,
but also
turns digital things into organic matter.
Yeah,
that's what the disc does.
The thing is I think the idea is that the
thank you, Disney.
The TRON, the grid is able to download your physical DNA into data. Like it takes your matter, transforms it into electromagnetic light or something.
But what if you're data only and you don't have the reverse
that's what I'm saying
process?
Is if the process is one way, it's probably possible that you could take data that already exists and then turn it into matter.
If this absurd process works one way, it has to work the other way.
It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
magic. Let's just call it what it is. It's magic. We allow magic.
Yeah, well,
it's Disney magic. All right,
let it be
Disney magic.
But it is logical if a human is able to come back from the grid, right? Then it makes sense that if you have electromagnetic matter in the form of an ISO, which has been then it should be able to bring it back as well. It'd take a lot of energy, like a fuck ton of energy.
By the way, the Oscar was won by Inception. Tron lost to Inception.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
No, that's absolutely deserved.
Inception is one of the most overrated movies of all time.
I'm sorry. We'll save it.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't
save it.
We'll save it for the Inception review, but I wouldn't say it's the most I would say it's overrated, but not the most overrated.
That's good.
I don't understand it either. I don't understand.
You
Tenet.
don't understand it?
I don't even understand Tenet. Did you? Do you understand Tenet?
I did. Yeah, I love Tenet.
Really?
Yeah, Tenet.
When we review Tenet, you're going to explain it to us.
You have to explain all the audio, all the dialogue, because you can't hear anything in that movie.
Well, Tenet's biggest issue is its audio.
Yeah,
I won't try and defend that.
It's a good movie, but garbage audio-wise.
Can I ask a question? What happened to Garrett Hedlund, and why doesn't he work anymore?
I don't know.
The only film I remember him since then is Joe Wright's Pan, the Peter Pan prequel movie. He plays Captain Hook in that.
Inside Llewellyn Davis. He was inside Llewellyn Davis.
That's a good movie. That's a good movie.
That is a fantastic film.
He was in Pan. He was in Unbroken, Mudbound, Triple Frontier, The Marsh King's Daughter, Aragon, Four Brothers.
Oh, was he really in Aragon?
And Friday Night Lights.
Oh, he was Murta in Aragon. What a terrible film.
He had some bangers. He had Friday Night Lights, too.
I don't remember him in Inside Llewellyn Davis, and that's one of my favorite films of all time.
Him.
So, you do?
Doesn't sound like your
favorite. Do you remember who he played?
Some country guy.
Oh,
So
well,
I saw it.
helpful.
I saw it one time.
Typecasted.
Is he in that scene where they're like singing, and is he in like the recording booth or something, or is that a different?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Like I can see him. I just don't remember like exactly.
Right.
Oh, speaking of recording, let's get to this next part. I want to bring up my fun fact number 2.
He's our trivia guy.
Yeah. During the games, when they were shouting and going like, Rensler or whatever they're shouting, that audio was actually
Rinsler for me anytime.
was actually recorded at a Comic-Con, at the 2010 Comic-Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Lucasfilms, the Industrial Light and Magic. You have to what?
I have to ask.
Yes.
Did the audience randomly just start doing that and they recorded it, or did they ask them? Did they ask them to do it?
They asked them because the guys at Industrial Light and Magic came up and said, "Hey, you want to do this recording of people in a giant auditorium screaming? That's
you want to be in a movie, kids?
No. They're like that's kind of hard for us to replicate. Like realistically, we can't do it. So they're trying to figure out how to do it. And then we're doing a Comic-Con. Why don't we just ask them to do it? So there's already a panel for Tron Legacy, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want to help us out with recording? Just shout these words, and then we'll go from there." And that's what they did.
What a magnificent nugget.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. That's pretty cool.
We need more. We need more.
I have one more.
You have one more?
Please.
Very nice.
And we'll get to it. Not now, though. We'll get to it.
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Yeah, so Garrett Hedlund, my note here was Garrett Hedlund, what a hunky bloke. That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
It's not something I would say.
He's a good looking dude.
At the start of the film, he gives a burger to the dog without unwrapping it. Like textbook animal abuse.
Oh, right. I remember that.
You
He just throws a cheeseburger at this
Marv?
poor dog.
Yeah, Marv,
dog, yeah. But then like a cut later, it's open. Like
it's
the dog
open,
figured it out. He must be a
smart.
dog.
Yeah. Smart guy. Figured it out.
Another thing I did really like also, and they kind of ruin it, but I like that the start of the film, the aspect ratio is like widescreen, like you'd see at a regular cinema.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they enter the grid, as soon as Kevin and
Sam
enters the grid, the aspect ratio like increases up to it was very reminiscent of like the Wizard of Oz when it's black and white and then they enter Wonderland. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool, but they kind of ruin it because for a long time it's like that, and then they switch while they're in the grid. They switch back to the widescrreen. Like, why'd you do that? Why didn't you just keep it?
Was it filmed in IMAX?
I believe so, and
so
it might be just.
So that's why. That's why.
Well, if that's the case, if I'm like a director, I'd just I'd cut the shit and just cut the sides.
Talk to Christopher Nolan because The Dark Knight does the exact same thing.
I bet if there was a director's cut of this movie, it would be a lot better. I'm sure
but I also
Disney
feel like The Dark Knight picks its moments like really well. Like it picks.
This isn't a fun fact. This is
The Dark Knight Rises does not. Oh, I'll give you.
The Dark Knight Rises does. I think it does also.
No, it does it, but it doesn't do a good job of picking its moments. It's just random in The Dark Knight Rises.
So in The Dark Knight, I think there's 2 scenes where it does like the IMAX thing. It's the intro because they filmed it in IMAX for the IMAX theaters.
Yes,
to watch the previews, and I think that's Disney did the same thing for Tron Legacy. They filmed it for that specific thing, and that's it.
But they should have done it for the entire time they're in the grid. I feel like.
Didn't you say it's like $1 million to record an IMAX or something?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They should have just bit the bullet.
No, they should have. They should have.
Or cropped their widescreen images. I think they should have bit the bullet and cropped the wides because I think it does a really good job of
I agree with you.
Feeling like you're going into a bigger world. You know what I mean?
Dream sequence.
There's a couple of the notes I have here. The movie, the dialogue is just nothing but quips.
Yes,
it's just
I
quick.
hate it.
I hated it too. It was so annoying.
I hate
That's
it.
all
like
it was.
But no, I don't think. I think it's literally just Garrett Hedlund's character, like the main dude.
It's Cora does the same thing too.
Does she?
But,
No, I felt like Cora was always very natural. I always felt like Cora was natural.
When she breaks him out of the little the games or whatever, the arena, you know, he's coming towards the end of the little thing where it was the cliff, and he's like, "Pull up, you're not gonna make it." And then they go over the thing, and she's like, "Made it."
Yeah, but I liked it. Like I felt like Olivia Wilde does a good job of making it feel natural, in my opinion. But Garrett Hedlund,
Olivia Wilde did a nice
throwing
job.
it at him. Yeah,
Olivia Wilde made a 3-dimensional character, while the others had kind of 2-dimensional characters, and she kind of added some. You know, you wanted to learn more about Cora, you know, what she thinks and how she feels, and it wasn't just like, you know.
So I want to get back to Tron, the character of Tron. So they introduce him in a flashback, and you like it's obviously a de-aged version of what's his name?
Yeah.
Yes, but they try to hide his face for some reason, and it might just be that they weren't confident with the technology. Yeah. But then later on, beforehand they introduce Rinsler as well. Mm-hmm. But again, they basically give him nothing besides, oh, he's a badass, and that's about it. And then Kevin Flynn, Rinsler, Tron and Rinsler, the same person.
Yeah.
Rinsler.
And then Kevin Flynn, halfway through the film, he's just like, Tron. And it's like, oh, so he's Tron. Okay. Like, the film doesn't care about the reveal. The film doesn't care.
And I'm Tron.
And it gives him nothing. Yeah. And then right at the end of the film, they're doing their little dogfight. And he's Spartacus. He's ganging up on them, right? He's going to get them. And then for no reason at all, he's just suddenly like, oh, I fight for... The users, and then he switches. He turns white.
Spartacus. It's Spartacus.
I wrote that down in my notes because that was such an unearned redemption.
Yes, you know? I hated it. Because it was unearned. And it's
like
my least.
Kevin,
you can have anything to say, or just
Kevin. Kevin has seen Rinsler probably a million times, but this one time where he's like Tron, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm Tron. That's me.
It's terrible. It's the worst moment in the film for me.
Welcome to another episode of Unearned Redemptions.
I like
Tonight
that.
We're going to explore 3 bad boys who don't deserve to be off Sunday school.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and the other issue is I feel like Kevin Flynn, I really wish they'd given him a little bit of a villain redemption arc. Like, I just don't like that the whole film, you're like, yeah,
Han Solo.
He's a good guy. He was accidentally taken into the
I feel like
grid.
He was auditioning for Han Solo for that whole film. I mean, he's basically
really?
playing... Yeah, I mean, he's basically playing the rogue character, you know, your classic rogue RPG character, you know. He's a swashbuckler.
His only villain...
Fine job.
His only villain thing was he's like, well, yeah, I guess I created Clue. My bad.
That's it. Like, I really wish there was more to him being trapped in the grid. Like, I wish there was more selfishness to it that could have been revealed, and it just felt like
I wish he wasn't living in a one-room apartment.
Like, Sam got there, and then he got his answer.
In the studio.
Like,
in the studio.
Like, the opening of the film is basically Sam being like, why did my father leave? Like, why did it... You know, like, why did he leave me behind? And then he gets there, and then Kevin just gives him the answer, and then that's it. That's the end.
And then they're like, "Okay,
Sam's
cool,
up.
Yeah,
bro, you've been living in the computer world all this time.
You know?
That's perfect for me too. Let's bust out of here. We're gonna have a great time, Dad.
Yeah,
oh, and
exactly.
You've been hanging out. You built a girlfriend, my future wife. And I'm sure you haven't touched her the last 15 years you've been in this simulation, right? I'm sure Cora doesn't have to have a total computer rebuild, and her whole psyche has been destroyed by this living in a rock. You know, it's just listen. There's a lot of issues.
There was a callback, or I don't know if it's a callback, but I felt like it was. Maybe it wasn't. Back to that scene where they jump the cliff and Cora's taking Sam to his studio apartment.
The plot of Pretty Things. Or Poor Things, isn't it?
When they're driving.
Isn't it like a Frankenstein thing, isn't it? Just like Poor Things?
I don't know.
He created her?
When they're
just
driving.
like in Poor Things.
No, she was organically created. She was an ISO.
Yeah, she was fully
the last
formed.
ISO, yeah.
The only reason that she's kind of aloof and stuff is because she's never been in the real world, so she doesn't really understand
when she was driving. And I forgot to look back at this, but when she's making that long drive, and she's looking at Sam, and she's kind of just like, seeing what's up with this guy. That felt a lot like that Batman scene in the 1989 Batman when Batman's driving Vicky Vale back to the Batcave.
You're absolutely right. I never thought about it.
The music was so similar too, but I don't know if it was
like
how similar it was in my head. But I was like,
do you know what he's talking about, Pragpro?
Why do the computer programs have gender? And does she have the capacity to even care about reproduction?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
These are good
she gets back to the real world, when the sun hits her face, yeah, she does.
You'd have to ask Joseph Kosinski, Prag. Let's get him on the podcast.
But yeah,
he's got a director on the podcast.
That's
Disney magic.
Heavy,
you have to allow Disney magic.
Heavy Batman vibes.
I could criticize
I
Pete's
agree with
Dragon the same way. I could say the whole Pete's Dragon thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me because why is a cartoon dragon even living in a cave? It doesn't even make sense. He would live he'd live in the forest. That's not where a forest dragon lives.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about these logic stuff. Like,
it's just
like
Disney.
There's other stuff like
it's just Disney rules.
If Clue knows if Clue knows where the portal is, why the fuck wouldn't he build the city around the portal instead of having to race Kevin, who lives closer to the portal?
Why does there have to be a city? Why is it a city like that and not a suburb? Why is it not a town? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's just so many details that
because it's his dream. Because that's
as far as like
his dream.
For so many cycles,
projecting a city.
Like, you look at a film like Blade Runner 2049, and they do the work to give you the details of the world that they're living in. Like, I really feel like Tron Legacy could have been something that had that kind of detail, that kind of texture, that kind of world building, but they just didn't put in the effort to do it. I felt like,
hopefully for the sequel.
What do you guys think of Ziggy Stardust, his cameo?
You mean David Bowie?
Yeah.
You mean
fun.
Michael Sheen?
It was fun. He was good.
Super over the top.
Yeah,
it
worked. He was
he was literally playing, a glam rocker, and it was good. It was nice. It was fun. It was a little. Actually, I think the movie picked up from that scene forward. I like the action sequences after that. You had the games. You had the go back to the headquarters, go back to the Bat Cave, meet the parents. You had that, and then we go to the nightclub, and I think things picked up from that point. And I think the movie really moved from that point really nice, and it had a nice pace from that point forward.
Well, and then I don't know if I agree because after that they slow down and they're on that train to the portal, right? It's a direct line, and then they're just talking for 10 minutes about more backstory that
they're falling in love.
That they could have just shown, they could have played it out naturally, like a normal story instead of.
They weren't falling in love because her arm got cut off and she was regenerating, so they weren't falling in love.
That's part of it. That's
part of it.
That's what happens when you fall in love.
Time.
Yeah.
Are you saying
your arm off
people,
and it regenerates, or it doesn't?
Are you saying armless people can't fall in love?
No, absolutely not.
That's a princess is going to cut your arm off.
Quote me on that.
Wow, that's sad. Well, the other thing I've written here is Zeus's betrayal is meaningless because we don't know about him until very scene. Yeah, it's like why did you
forgot about it?
And they put all this dramatic music over it.
Zeus.
Yeah.
Come on,
he's like, I'm looking for Zeus. That's crazy because I'm Zeus. Also, I set you up, and it's like.
What? There was no relationship.
Yeah.
There was no relationship set up. So these are all the things, all of this stuff, just little bits, just add up to a film that just doesn't.
But you know what?
Do it for me.
I'm about to make it all better right now because you guys are going to love this. You guys are going to
change my
love
mind.
this.
You're going to change my
mind? Maybe.
I like the sound of that.
First of all, the name of the club, Perfection.
What was it again?
End of Line Club.
The End of the Line.
End of Line Club.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool name.
Do you mind explaining that to me, Tom?
Absolutely not. The second thing, Daft Punk is in the club.
Elaborate. No.
Daft Punk is in the club. Remember that?
Yes,
okay.
I do. I went to my parents. I was like, "Hey, look, that's Daft Punk."
It was in their contract.
And they were like, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah. And the
we know
third
what they
thing,
look like.
which is also my third fun fact, that scene in the club where Michael Sheen comes out and is like, libations for everyone. He turns to the guy and points to him. There's a guy with black hair in the back, and he's like, "I got you." The bartender is the original director of the first Tron.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is JC. His name is
Yes, I did it.
His name is Steven Lisberger.
Nice. Nice. Did he work on anything else besides the first Tron? Do we know?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't care about that kind of stuff.
Let me see. I'm going to look it up for you. And I'm going to find out because that's what I do. That's how I cook. That's how I get sick.
That's how you cook it. That's right.
Okay, he did the NBC's coverage for the 1980 Olympics, W. So he directed the
Very
1980
nice.
Olympics. He did Tron. He did
Nice.
Hot Pursuit in 1987, which has Ben Stiller in it. Slipstream in 1989, a critical and commercial failure. He wrote screenplays through the 90s and 2000s, several being optioned.
Can I also
Soul
point out
Code.
another?
That's not great. It's not great after the Olympics. It's not great.
Can I point out another kind of silly thing in this film? At the start, they're having a board meeting and they announce that their stock is the first 24-hour tradable stock.
That's not what they said. That's not what
That
they
is
said.
that's
not what they
literally
said.
what they
No,
said.
hold on, that's not what they said.
JT.
No, that's not what they said.
Our stock is now 24 hours, is what they said.
It's like
100%.
No, they said it's good. It's not the first. It's going to be traded for the first time on 24 hours cycle.
Why? So is it the only stock? So it's not the only stock trading.
No,
because it's in multiple markets.
Yeah, they're entering.
Right.
I think they're going to China or something like that. So it's
NKI.
entering on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
So it's
So that
universal.
covers that times. So it's basically just that it's multiple markets in multiple time zones.
okay.
So they
I
cover
read-
all the time.
Take that
zones.
criticism
They
back
don't.
right now.
'Cause they
I
don't have
read it.
brokerage- They don't have brokerages in certain time in the middle of the ocean.
Okay, the way I read it was that they've just got now. It's the only stock. It's now a stock that just runs 24 hours. And
Truth Social runs 24
But, like-
hours.
we're
I just
streaming on
bought
Truth Social, by the way.
1,000 shares of
And
Donald J.
Rumble.
Trump's Truth Social, and I'm going to be rich.
Yeah, Kick.
It's going to keep going up and up and up.
It's going to be huge.
We love you, Donald.
Come back, Donald. I miss you.
these guys, these
You
guys.
know what? You guys are over here, gushing over
I don't
Cora.
care for civics.
I didn't like Cora too much.
Really?
I liked Olivia
vague.
Wilde. I don't like Cora. The
Why not?
one thing that I didn't like, and it's at the very
Haircut.
end. The haircut was terrible. At the very end,
I love the haircut.
It's
Excuse me.
terrible. Jay.
You take
it
that
looks like a
back.
wig.
You take that
It's a
back.
wig, and it looks
I'm
like a
a-
wig.
I'm a
Absolutely
Bob
not.
boy. Take
Absolutely
it
not.
back.
Absolutely
just-
not.
It looks
Unbelievable.
crooked. It looks like a bad cut.
it's
It doesn't
crooked.
look
It
like
looks crooked.
It looks
It's
something
crooked.
She looks
wrong
so
with
good
it.
in it.
Take
No.
a couple.
Oh, wow.
I guarantee you, if you asked Olivia, she would say not her favorite.
No,
Y'all fell off.
yeah. Y'all fell off. I think
Not
this was
my Olivia.
talked about for the sequel, which I would have absolutely hated this, but they wanted to play with the idea of, well, she's in the real world now. So what's a toaster? What's a car? What's this? I think that would have been awful.
Oh, it would have been so bad. Yeah.
But I think they're going to play with that, and I'm like, oh no.
Who's going
No.
to play her character? Olivia Wilde's not going to be in this,
If
is
I
she?
remember, no.
She's not in the
It's
next
going to be a whole new
film, like,
story.
the
Whole new story.
characters.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Is it set like 10 years after? So
I have no idea.
Salmon is gone. And,
The only thing I know, it's like a separate thing.
yeah. Starring Jared Leto from the director of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No
no.
Tales.
Speaking
anyone
of-
hear that? Did anyone see that stinker? Holy moly!
I've seen
no.
all of them. I've seen all of them.
Oh my god! Is that your next film, Time? Pirates of the Caribbean.
The third one.
At World's
Yeah,
End?
At
Are we
World's
doing
End, yeah.
that?
Yes,
Cool.
I believe so.
I like that.
Are we only
I like that.
reviewing Disney films on your week? I just want to check my schedule.
You're right. God damn it.
Can I invite you to pick another studio's film?
No.
And we can revisit that?
No.
You want that one? Great.
I want that one, for
I'll
now.
just jot that down.
It's
It's
actually
good because I watched it recently.
What film
it's
are we
actually
watching next
dependent
week?
on you guys,
Do
honestly.
we want to promote next week? I'm
No.
so excited
No.
about
No.
next week. We're going to have our
Not
first
yet.
guest.
Not yet. Hold on. Not yet.
What? Why can't we? This is what
Hold-
we do.
hold on.
Next
We'll
week,
get to that.
meaning
We'll get to
3
that.
days because we had technical difficulties.
No, we're taking a week off. Remember?
No,
It's
we're
next
not
week.
taking any weeks
we're
off.
not taking a week off.
Yes, we are.
No, we've already set
Oh,
the
no,
date.
you're right. I'm sorry.
You
Yeah.
fucking out of
Anyways,
your mind.
anyways,
I'm not
anyways.
telling my guest. We're
Anyways.
filming on that day
we
at 8 p.m. Sunday.
if you like Tron, if you're a fan of Tron,
which I wasn't.
Whatever. If you're a fan of Tron Legacy, there is a prequel that's set in between 1 and 2. Tron Uprising. It's on Disney Plus.
Show?
It's fantastic.
It got canceled.
It did get canceled, but it was awesome. Elijah Wood's in it. He's the main character.
He's in a lot of things.
And
never watched that.
It's good. It's so good. It's so good. And this is my last podcast. I'm never coming back.
I was very kind to
ridiculous.
Tron Legacy time. I said a lot of nice things about Tron Legacy today.
So let's wrap this up. If
you're doing Outworld's End next time, you're gonna have me on your side. Don't worry.
We can talk about next week a little bit, right? Don't the people deserve to know what we're up to next week?
We're going to get to that.
Stop screaming at me.
So finally, I just want to hear from everyone, or time. You can go for it.
Yes.
Would you guys recommend this movie?
A child who was hit in the head.
Well, I was about to.
If a child has a concussion, like if they slip and fall at the pool and they're in traction for several weeks, I would put this on along with several other Marvel films.
Okay.
If you're looking at like art directors, I'd recommend it to them for sure. I think recommending to art directors, recommending to just people who love like a visual experience. Zack Snyder fans, I'd probably recommend it to.
This is a good film for like a nightclub when they just put the film on a projection screen. Have you ever been to a nightclub? This is a perfect film for that. It's It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film to look at, and you know
what? And I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind watching it again at a cinema. To be honest,
I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say it was a bad film.
If the new one comes out and they re-release it to set it for it, I'll see it. I won't see the new one, but I'll see this one.
Yeah, I'd see it in a cinema again. If they released it in 3D again, because I remember 3D being insane.
In IMAX?
In IMAX.
In IMAX, I'd watch it, but there's other films that I'd pick. There's so many other films I'd pick over it.
So
that's not the question. Not what other films would you pick?
Yeah,
over?
I know.
But just give it a rating. Let's just give it a rating. I'm going to give it a rating.
I'd
what
give
do you
it a
want to
5.
do?
I'd give it a 5. Yeah.
Time?
Yeah.
Please go.
I'll go
Maybe
last.
a 4.
I'll go last.
I give this on a scale of 100. I give it a 67.
67.
Which is good for me in that scale. Nobody is really 94. Nobody gets to like 100 on my scale. You can't get to 100. So it's like that's like the speed of light. You can get close to the speed of light, but you can't go the speed of.
Is what we're gonna do.
No, it doesn't. No, just so that the listener understands.
Well, no, but you said 67.
Impression.
JC said 5, 4. What'd you say?
On the Australian scale, I'd give it a 40%. I'd give it
40%.
I'd give it a D.
Okay,
40%
40 is
a D.
an F in my country.
That's
a D is 60.
In Australia. That's a D. Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a solid B minus.
B minus. Wait, I thought you loved this film.
I do.
I thought this was one of your favorite films.
But the plot is awful. But I do love it.
Okay,
I appreciate that. There's a lot of films like that for me too, where I would agree that I would give it a mid-range score, but I have a great fondness and love for it because it invokes a child, something from I grew up with. In fact, 95% of the things I like fall into that category.
This movie reminds me of a very happy time in my life. Yeah.
It was a good. Listen, I'm not mad. I watched it. I tell you that. I really never said to myself, "God, I really, it was a waste of my time." No, I enjoyed it. I had a nice time. It was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
That's all I could.
I had a good time for chunks of it, I would say. So next week's film, we've got a guest coming on. We can reveal that it is a little wily guy,
Poker King,
a valued member of the Lance from Saints community.
We can announce what film we're going to watch, right?
And we will.
You just did.
We'll be watching the Poker King, starring Jack Black. This was her choice.
Poker King, got it.
What's Little Wiley guy's Twitch? Is it LILWILYGUY?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that's all
it's
at twitch.tv.
Little Wiley guy.
Lil.
Twitch.tv/LIL.
Is it Lil or Lil?
WILY.
No.
GUY.
Pragpro. It's LITTLE.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
WILY guy.
Yeah. So Little Wiley guy. Next week we're watching
it's
Poker
not
King.
LIL?
Go follow her.
No, it's Little. It's
Oh, that's terrible.
Little.
She should have really went with LIL. That's just much cuter.
She should have.
I'm gonna take that channel.
We'll make sure, and we'll let her know.
I'm gonna be the Lil Wiley guy. You're gonna be the Little Wiley guy.
Fragpro's not letting us
number one.
Fragpro's not letting us announce the next.
I'm going to be the number one streamer on Twitch, Little Wiley guy, and I'm going to use your channel name.
I think we should discuss this before they hear the next episode. JC, are you going to tone down your misogyny a little bit when you have Wiley on, or no?
What do you mean?
He's full of hate.
He's full of hate towards women. He's full of hate towards women.
I love women.
Full of hate towards
women. Women are my
fun.
girls.
Little Wiley guy is a lot of fun. She's hilarious and she can cook. And I'm looking forward to having someone on the show that I can work with comedically.
Yeah, and the Poker King. I'd never heard of it until
I've never heard of it.
Which I think is great.
It's on Netflix.
Is it?
I think Pragpro, you'd seen the documentary. Is that right?
I know there's a documentary about the real Polka King, and I don't remember. I think it's called The Last Polka, if I remember correctly. You might be able to find that in the PBS POV online library, and maybe watch it for free. But let's see where this next, the fictionalized version. I don't know if it is the fictionalized version. I'm going into it cold. I don't want to read about it. Yeah. I know it's a comedy.
I'm going to watch the Red Letter Media review of it. I'll see if I can pass off that I saw it.
Just like repeat word for word what they
you
say
embarrass
in the
me
review.
In front of our guest.
Do they have a review of the Poker King, or are you just pulling that out of your ass?
Just go into it cold.
I'm going
like I go into everything else.
I mean, cold. I love Jack Black, so it should be fun. All right, thanks
for listening.
So much for joining us on this discussion of Tron Legacy.
I
hope you enjoyed. Always, this podcast will forever be dedicated to the dearly departed Corey Lazat.
I miss you, Corey.
Rest in peace.
I miss you.
Stop vaping.
That's right.
You can find me at CallMeMrJC on Twitch. We have a Discord. And
I have a very important Twitch channel. Twitch.tv/PRAGPRO.
You really love this new mic you've got.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's almost kissing it. Like
he is.
If you could see this, listeners, he's just coming in slowly, sultry. He's always leaning over. We can't see his mouth.
He's not making out with JC. He's not peeking like JC.
I'm sorry.
An artist loves a new instrument.
And you can.
The side will normalize the audio, so I don't have to
I'm
worry.
so happy Corey suggested this.
You can find me at Timegoestowaste on Twitch. And sometimes on other people's streams when I'm hanging out.
He's in my stream a whole lot.
He never streams. He never streams.
You don't stream, JC. You need to get on the streams.
He streams.
Listen, we're going to do bad internet.
Thank you.
We're going to do all of these things. Don't worry, chat. One of us is constantly streaming. One of us there's always somebody on the Discord.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.